everyone. Welcome to the Dancing Deplorable. FBI, I have no idea what that is. Federal law allows I was pointing at this little icon or whatever the hell it is. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, okay, slow down, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use and is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which does range of copyright under 17 USC 107. Okay, so here we are. The Dancing Deplorable. Welcome. I am here to talk about the rise of the Neo-Nephilim, which is my term that I have just created because sorry. If everybody is thinking up all these new things, and people don't know the bloodlines of the Nephilim after the flood, and it's kind of detailed. They don't want to go there and spend X amount of time going off in that land and talking about that stuff when it's like, at this point in time, it should be common knowledge. So the way I put it is the new Nephilim, which is basically those principalities and spirits are back and running wild and rampant and creating new ones and breeding and all. That's what we're seeing that's going on in the world today. And those around you that seemingly you might be wondering to yourself if, you know what? I'm having some issues today. I'm here. There is actually, let me look real quick here. They have some new music in the background that they can play. So let's see. Feeding the ducks. How's that for volume? You still hear it? I can still hear it. Okay, so let's try that. That's different. Okay. So back to the people that we work with, or we encounter in lives at the grocery store, in line at the gas station, in the cars next to you at the light, people that ride the bus, people that pick you up in a cab, just your doctors, the nurses, the people in the waiting room, anywhere, anywhere. Okay, this is what I have been trying to tell people for so long now that it's like people are finally starting to listen. And even though that we all know that they existed, and we all know that they have a bloodline, and X, point A to point Z, and we are here now. But what we fail to realize is they are still such a presence. I've said this a cajillion times that 55 to 65% and it could be a little bit less than, a little bit more than that, just because it's so questionable. Because if you start actually looking at the traits of humans versus Neo-Nephilims, then you really start to wonder. And I'm actually, while we're doing this, I'm going to start looking at that lady that I was telling you about earlier, and I believe she's on Discord. BitChute. There's a lot of really good stuff on BitChute, stuff that you're not going to see anywhere else. And let me see if I can find her. She's got some really great videos about the Nephilim. But I'll look somewhere as maybe I'll show something to watch and then I'll go back and look. But kind of what I wanted to talk about and show everybody are the characteristics, and that was the other thing I needed to look up. I got everything looked up for the people that we're dealing with that are not human. Well, at least, okay, let's put it this way. They're like 99%. And then that 1%, Roger, you know what I'm talking about. That 1% is what I'm talking about, because it's that 1% that you sit there and you look at them and you sit there and go, what the hell is wrong with you? No common sense, no empathy, no compassion, no new ideas. And then the characteristics and tendencies and attributes of these people are absolutely atrocious and can be put into category. I guess I could have, like, a little bit. I have hot flashes all the freaking time. It's like, I don't want to be like, oh my God, excuse me, I have to like turn the, yeah. Anyways. But showing the difference, okay, so like, this is so funny. Human characteristics. Okay, interesting that I even have to pull this up. This is even funnier. This is going to be really good. Okay, so I pulled up all of that is in regards to what I believe. Now, this is my opinion through my research and my inductive reasoning, which inductive reasoning means everything that I've learned in my entire life brought into the now to weigh all this bullshit that we're going through in the outer world, which I don't mean outer space, because we don't have an outer space, we live in it. But what I mean in our outer space is the areas that we influence when we leave our home. That's what I'm talking about. And the fact that it's only the people that know about all this stuff are the people that notice it. The other ones, the other people, are all victims. Victims, okay? Because all of these people are bullies. They harass people. They talk down to people. And those three things that I talk about all the time in freaking video, and if you see my videos, you're like, oh my God, stop talking about that. But I cannot begin to tell you how much to pay attention to it, because people are doing it to you. Yes, you and me. And it pisses me off. And I have no tolerance for it anymore. I just don't, because they're not human characteristics. So let's look at human characteristics, and then we'll move over to what we've been encountering. How's that? Because I do consider myself intelligent, but as far as my bullshit is absolutely at zero. I mean, you give me any bullshit and I lose it, because it is so rampant and prevalent in every place that anybody goes. And I call it out when I go into establishment or anywhere. I'll call people out. I do not have a problem with that whatsoever. I'm not always carrying. Most of the time, I'm not carrying, but that doesn't mean anything to me because that's for a whole different purpose. But if people take it the way that they take it, then they can take it the way that they take it. I don't really care. But it's like I don't let that make a judgment call for me whether I do something or not. I don't need a gun to be a mama bear for anybody. Because if it comes right down to it and something needs to be done and I'm there and it needs to be done by me, I will do it because it will be taken over and done. I won't even know it. It would just be done because it's happened before many times. Many times it's been done. And people have seen it and just sat there and went, whoa. I'm like, tell me about it, but don't ask me what I say because I can't tell you. But anyways, getting back to, let's look at the human characteristics of real humans. Share screen. And I'm still trying to get in the hang of all this because it's been like six or so months since I've done any of this, at least on a regular basis. Okay, so 25 characteristics of humans. All right, so you see what I see, so let me go back here. Humans are a species of highly intelligent mammal and primate. Well, I don't agree with this. That emerged out of Africa. Blah, blah. I agree with the Africa part. Around, no, not 300,000. But anyways, going on. Intelligence. This is basically the 25 top. I probably didn't pick the best one, but at least they're acknowledging, the basic human characteristics. High levels of motivation and self-awareness, and can perform complex cognitive tasks, blah, 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 solving problems, that kind of thing, learning, experimenting, developing knowledge, abstract concepts. Basically, they're a thinking being. So now, stop screen. So now, over here and let's look at attributes. Okay, let's look at what attributes mean. I think it's important to know just some little definitions of things. Let me get rid of that and we'll look for that later. Okay, definition of attribute. A quality, character, or characteristic ascribed to someone or something. 2. An object closely associated with or belonging to a specific person, thing, or office. Okay. So, stop screen. Move that one down. Okay, so we know that. So let me bring up one thing here. That people forget about that. Let me see if I can pull it up here really quick. And I'm sorry, I was messing around with my drink. I'll knock it over. Okay, so. Ooh, that was sour. Ooh. Right. Okay, so. Let me pull this up here. This is important to me because we should all try to Um, oh no, that's not what I'm looking for. Hold on. Let me do this what I'm looking for with this. I put in the wrong word. Yes, okay. So these are the things that, as humans, we should have, and that is love, joy, peace, or at least a strive, uh, uh, um, to strive to achieve these things in our lives. Um, is love, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self control. And I know everybody has things that they struggle with, but I believe that those are the biggest things that we should look for because the real seeds of truth in people are those that even through whatever is going on, you still see those truth of love, joy, peace, forgiveness, uh, patience, kindness, faithfulness, self control, that kind of thing. That those are the best parts of us. And those should be the things truly try to acquire to be. Yes, it's kind of how I look at it. And hey, I struggle just like everybody else, and I have my days and my really good days and my really bad days, just like everybody else. Nobody is perfect, and that's something that a lot of people don't. Also, they're being told that by the church, which it's really hard to not believe people that we entrust our lives to, and somehow, be it fighting nurses, doctors. But when you find out that all these places and all these just everything has been infiltrated by the Masons and witches and warlocks and Satanists and Luciferians and all these people that profess to be white witches and listen, you have a right to do whatever you want to do and whatever floats your boat. But I have a right also to sit here and say that those are things that separate us from God. And the fact that nobody's talking about that is what disturbs me because it's rampant in the church. Because there's so many spells and curses and things going on like that people would be, they don't want to talk about it. Let's put it that way. But it's happening. I mean, people are love potions and charms to attract, so forth on, and it's just really hard to be out in this world and not realize that we're surrounded by these people that are putting curses on us. They look at us with bad intent. And the music that they force upon us when we're out in public, like Aqualung, for instance, which I just said right before this was the bad intent, that is a pedophile type song, Aqualung. And if you haven't listened to it, I don't suggest doing it because it's gross. And growing up, what I grew up in was pretty close to that. So it's like I don't like hearing it in a place where children are subjected to it because I know people like that. I have encountered people like that in my lifetime as a child with creepy men and stuff like that. So, and we could start naming names. We could be names, and that would just be funny. Anyways, getting back, but I mean, that's all. That's a whole thing too. That's a whole another like level, discussion. But getting back to human characteristics and the gifts and the spirit, and just common courtesy. I think that is something that, you know what, I will treat you like a king or a queen. That's how I want to be treated. So if I come off like that to you, that's how I feel about myself, and I consider you equal. And I take it very seriously because in this day and age, that is exactly what we are. But in a godly or a worldly way. And I'm connecting myself with the people on the godly side because I don't want to be in the worldly matrix anymore. Because it's a joke. Just do it. How do you guys deal with all these freaking mental people? I mean, basically, you're dealing with a bunch of trolls. Odors. Okay, so I have my list lined up here. We're going to look at some characteristics today of the people that you've actually been encountering at your workplace, at the grocery store, in line at the gas station, in line at the light, waiting for the light to turn green. The people pass that are running red lights. There goes one. You know, it just wait. Okay, let's go ahead and jump in because it's really funny. So remember that we as humans have the capabilities of patience, kindness, love, joy, peace, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self control. Even though I'm still learning about some of those things, I think I got most of it down for the most part. Okay, so just look at trolls. Okay, so let me pull that up here. Hold on. And I know everybody knows what it is because in this world that's like somebody online and blah blah blah, and they're creating havoc. But let's really look at what it says in Wikipedia about what a troll really is and does. Okay, a troll is a being in Nordic folklore, including Norse mythology. In Old Norse sources, beings described as trolls dwell in isolated areas of rocks, mountains, or caves, live together in small family units, and are rarely helpful to human beings. Um, in later Scandinavian folklore, trolls became beings in their own right, where they live far away from human habitation and are not Christianized, which I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but I'm not even going to go there, and are considered dangerous to human beings. Depending, and I'm not saying they're like you got to run away from them. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that their intent towards us, that's what you got to watch and always watch your back with it. That's what I'm saying. Depending on the source, their appearance varies greatly. Trolls may be ugly and slow witted or look and behave exactly like human beings with no particularly grotesque characteristics about them. Now notice I said no particularly grotesque characteristics about them. Now, think about what people do to themselves today to make themselves look different than everybody else because they want to look different than humans, normal humans. Now, mind you, I'm not talking about um, people that like tattoos because most people that like tattoos don't get tattoos on their face unless it's like something small or something like that. And I still don't have a problem with it. You do what you want, but it's a social thing that you have to have the sense in your own mind to know that if you do things like that, you're cutting yourself off definitely through a job source, even though some places will hire anybody. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just saying they didn't used to hire people with tattoos on their face or their body at all, unless it completely, you had it covered. I worked with a friend that had to cover her tattoos on her legs with band-aids and stuff like that every day coming to work that were on her legs and stuff. She wore like skirts and shorts and stuff. So I get that. But getting back, okay, let's get back to this because you guys are going to freak out. I mean, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Okay, you wait till I get in here a little bit deeper here. Um, think about this too. Trolls are sometimes associated with particular landmarks in Scandinavian folklore. With a lot of this doesn't apply, but some of it does. So this is the part that I want you to pay attention to, which at times may be explained and formed from a troll exposed to sunlight. Trolls are depicted in a variety of media and popular um, they're talking about stone landmarks because if a troll gets caught in the sunlight, it turns to stone. Okay, so they are basically night creatures of the night. Sorry, people of the night, creatures of whatever. Okay, I don't put them into a human category. If they've chosen to live in darkness, they've made one step closer into turning themselves into a Neo-Nephilim. And, and bear with me and on this because this woman in BitChute, and I cannot remember her name right now, and I'm trying to remember it, and it'll come to me. Um, and a lot of you may have seen it already, but she is like spot on because it really made me start. I was already noticing things and calling people out way back when. I mean, if you acted like it and you look like it, I more than likely called you by the name. If you acted like a troll, I called you a troll. And I'm not talking about the current, I'm talking about the mythical, so called mythical, which is a bunch of bullshit. But, anyways, okay, so oh, this is interesting. And I didn't even pull up some of the stuff, but I did a video and had to delete it because the screen froze. But I talked about a bunch of stuff in regards to finding out more information about trolls, ogres, vampires, werewolves, that kind of thing. It is uh, through reading Piers Anthony books. And I didn't read them as well. I guess I did read them as a child, but I was reading the ones that were like the Robot Adept, which that's a whole nother level of. We can go there another time because that's a whole another concept that I have way too much information to add to just talk a few minutes about. I have probably could do a series on that, which would be talking about all the alchemy and the apothecary and all those things that we're seeing or that a lot of people don't know, but that the video games are teaching our children how to do. They're also teaching our children how to summon demons. They're teaching our children children how to um, do curses, and yeah, there's just a lot of things. But I also added that they also are teaching our kids about art in the right way, and they are teaching our kids how to be situationally aware, and they're also teaching our kids um, how to fight for the right causes, and also they have the ability for the role-playing games to alter the outcomes. Like they'll give you a wheel that will be like you can answer the comment from the person in a good way and get a good response from the person, or you can answer in a bad way and get a bad response. And then your character in the town can raise or lower. So I mean, there's moral choices that some games offer, which some people like to do because they'll do both extremes. And it's just interesting because in those games it goes into the depths of a lot of things that we're going through right now. But getting back to the trolls, and I'll finish off and then we'll move to the next one, which is what I really wanted to talk about. Um, but it's the etymology, noun, troll, fiend, demon, werewolf, Jotun. That's a new word that I've just come across. So I'll be interested. It'll be fun to research that one. Fiend. And to be honest with you, that word I do know because I have known that word since high school. So I'm very familiar with that word. So that's very interesting. Um, Trolls are said to dwell in isolated mountains, rocks, caves, sometimes live together, usually as father and daughter or mother and son, and are rarely described as helpful or friendly. Holy moly! Oh my god! Oh my gosh, you guys! Well, is anybody say, oh my god! Oh my goodness! That is maybe I should start reading this stuff first. But sometimes it's like it's great to come across this kind of crazy shit because you can't make this shit up. You cannot make this shit up. I'm sorry. Okay? Here I'm getting ready to finish with this, and I go on and read that in Norse mythology, troll, like Thurs, is term applied to Jotnar, and is mentioned throughout the Old Norse corpus. In Old Norse sources, trolls are said to dwell in isolated mountains. Where I live. Where I live. Near isolated mountains, rocks, and caves. Which I wonder, now take that. I take that term a little bit more seriously now. Like, were you born under a rock? Yes, they were. Oh my gosh. Okay, born under. Okay. Oh, sorry. Rocks, caves, and sometimes live together. Sometimes, which we know it's not sometimes because they're taking over our planet. Usually as father and daughter and mother and son. And let me tell you what, that in itself screams not only this crazy shit, but a whole nother level of crazy shit that we also know about that we're not going to talk about today. Okay? So let's move on. Okay, so let's stop scrolling. Hi there, I'm back. Would you like to see something else for a moment instead of my ugly mug? Like that? I bet it covers the whole screen now. Then we have that, which I like this one. That's actually me. That's face. Like on that one. That is my face. Well, yeah, that's my nose, but just bigger. But that's my face. Okay, and then this one. See, I'm getting it together. I'm trying. I'm trying. And then let's see. I like making these videos because YouTube will be weird. Oh, let me fix that. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, that's a little better. Let's do that. Let's do that. Okay, so let's go. Since we got rid of that one, let's just let's look at giants first before we go into the topic of the night. Actually, let's look at. I found this. Everybody knows about how we're having everybody's encountering Karens and things like that, just losing their shit and over stupid stuff. And I think that falls into the line of where we're going with this, where I'm going with this, and trying to show people that not only are we just dealing with broken humans, we're dealing with people that um, don't want to be human. They um, they don't like the human race. They all should be dead, even themselves. I mean, this is the brainwashing that they've accepted and absorbed into their beings. So, like, all we can do is pray for them at this point. But let's look at the list of giants in mythology and folklore, because I actually have a book that I'd like to start going through. Because what I did was I did start reading it, and it was quite shocking to find out that so many places have so many ties to giants and things like that, and the type of principalities that are over the town. Like my town, I'll give you an example. There is a huge there is a huge now, I have nothing against people in the LGBTQ community. Well, I do with some because they're a bunch of losers. Through my experience in my life of being in the LGBT community here in this town. So it is interesting to see that they drive an agenda they don't even realize is being brainwashed into them to drive. And I saw it back in when I was living the gay lifestyle. Um, I saw where it was going with the pedophilia. Just how they were doing at the functions and stuff. And me and my partners, my partner, we would keep to the family side, and even that was questionable what they had there. So we had to be really careful where we took the kids, if we took the kids at all, kind of thing. So it became more than what it ever should have been. And there's a few people on TikTok that talk about that and are very adamant about that. But in regards to the list of giants in the folklore and mythology, which I don't believe in mythology, I actually believe that our mythology is our history, and that's just what they've told us to feed us that bullshit so that we would believe all the bullshit that we currently know. And that's just where we are. Because I also know in 92 Stag, if you ever watched this, her and I talked about this very thing, that in the Britannica Encyclopedia of 1957 or 3, I'm not sure, I think it's 7. It talks about it talks about the flat earth, and it also talks about where they started the and so basically when they turned off the flat earth information, they switched on the globe information, and they also switched on the space theory stuff. That's when they started doing that. So, um, but now we're finding all these um, machines that they had at the last reset. And if you don't know about resets and mud fossils and mud floods and things like that, you might want to start researching that, because that's a whole another eye-opening experience. But here's a list of giants, and here's the book that I have. I'm going to start talking about, because when I start going through these individually, they talk about specific areas, because it's basically the folklore, legends and myth, which is basically what we're looking at here, but in depth, like each one for each place. I mean, it's super, super in depth. But and I thank this person for Carol Rose. Thank you, Carol Rose, for making that. Um, I think she may have known about things sooner than we all did. But anyways, so let's look. Let me bring that down here. Make it bigger. So, list of giants. Okay, so if you notice, it's in every folklore, every place. Okay, so what that tells me is, it's so funny because I mean, we should know just by looking at this, we should know, and they've just dumbed us down so much that we can't even think out of the box anymore. And it's so sad. And I just find it so hard to find people to talk to, because I'm not finding that level of, I'm just not. Nobody, I'm looking for that, and I'm not finding it. And that's why I keep doing these, because I'm really hoping people will open their minds a little more and ask more questions, maybe. I don't know. I don't even know if I have answers. But I know that if we can't look at this list and realize that it's a bunch of bullshit, that they've added the word mythology instead of history to it, that we should have known a long time ago that they were feeding us a lot of bullshit. And even the food pyramid. Stop using the food pyramid, people. You're killing yourself. Seriously, do more fasting and eat less and less and less and less. I can't begin to tell you how much bullshit the food pyramid is. Completely bullshit. Stop eating 3 meals a day. We really need 1 meal a day, because if you really actually go back and you look at a healthy person, even, in hard times, I mean, yeah, people were hungry and starving and everything, but in towns that people were flourishing, people were healthy because they were eating correctly. They were eating the right foods in the right amounts at the right times. And it's like, even people talk about it on TikTok, like breakfast is break your fast. You've been, if you haven't eaten since X time the night before, and you've slept through an 8-hour period of time, which now I realize how important that actually is, just for the fasting portion. It's important. It's very important. So yeah, so we can see here that it's all written down, and we should have known that it's history. If they've got it for every single place, it's history. It's not mythology. So anyway, so yeah, so there's that. And so let's go to the next one, which would be, pull that one up. Giants. Get rid of that one. Okay, in Greek and Roman mythology, giants, also called gigantes, which you'll notice, which I find interesting because that's how they refer to in science for the extra large so-called dinosaurs, which are actually dragons. It's like, yeah, whatever. And I have things on Google Earth that I found that are dragons, and I've found things that, I mean, like, you go down and look at the stone, and the stone is frozen, like it's frozen dragon stone, like not carved. And then you have from looking from up in the air down, you can see dragons that have been smited by, yeah. So okay. Anyways, off track. Giants, gigantes, were a race of great strength and aggression, through not necessarily of great size. Okay. They were known for the giantoma. Okay. Giantomachia? I'll have to look that one up. I didn't prepare for that one, because I really don't care. Their battle with the Olympian gods, which that's a whole nother level of interesting history about the gods that the Nephilim, that's who the Nephilim were. Okay. And according to Hesiod, the giants were the offspring of Gaia. Now, Gaia is used in multiple video games out there, which Gaia is used in this main game that, as soon as I get this video capture card, next week, hopefully, maybe sooner, but next week probably. As soon as I get that, then I'm going to start this game, and then we're going to walk through this game, and I'm going to show you guys how it will just blow your mind. And we'll go step by step, and I'll show you how intense they are brainwashing our children with the information that they're putting in these games, and making the information available that they don't make available to us in the real world. They have to do it this way. But when you look at it and you read it and you listen to it and you understand it, you know that it's for now. There is no mistaking it. There is no guessing. There is no ambiguity about it whatsoever. You know that it's for what's going on right now. Several games show that right now. And it blows my mind. It just absolutely blows my mind. And I just think more people should know about that. But going on here, great strength and aggression, though not necessarily of great size, they were known for their blah, 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 their battle with the Olympian gods, which were Nephilim. According to Hesiod, the giants were offsprings of Gaia, Earth, which the Earth is not Gaia. Earth is a creation of God, born from the blood that fell when Uranus, sky, was castrated by his Titan son, Cronus. These are a bunch of, like, creepy mofos, people. Okay? And they had supernatural powers, and they created havoc on the freaking Earth. Okay? That's what they did. That's why they made a name for themselves. themselves because they were chaotic, wicked, and created chaos. It's like unbelievable the shit that we've. It's just crazy to me. Archaic and classical representation showed gigantes as man-sized hoplites, heavily armed ancient Greek foot soldiers, fully human in form. Later representations after 380 BC show gigantes with snakes for legs. In later traditions, which that is interesting because I think that would fall into the line of the Naga, and that's a whole nother story of stuff. In later traditions, the giants were often confused with other opponents of the Olympians, particularly the Titans, which were giants but huge, huge, huge. An earlier generation of large and powerful children of Gaia and Uranus. And see, this may be this. These are things to talk about because this is what I just wonder if this was part of the Tartarian world that was going on at that time, which will be interesting to. I mean, I know that the Romans and stuff like that, but if that's we really got to touch because they're lying to us about the time stuff, and that's another thing that with the inductive reasoning thing that things don't connect like they should. Like they talk about these things here on these things about the Greek gods and things like that. But in Tartaria, in the Tartarian maps and symbols and all the drawings and things like that, you can see that they're dealing with these entities and these capacities. And it's hard to explain. It's almost like I just wonder if they were living in their grandeur, whatever, in their wealth and their whatever, while all the people down below were the serfs living in squalor and robes because that's all that they were able to have. There's just a lot of things. And Assassin's Creed is another series of games that delves into the depths of a whole nother level of symbolism and art and incest and lineage, bloodlines, and power that taken in. And I didn't even play the first game to the capacity I could have played it. So I need to have somebody that actually did play Assassin's Creed 1 because it's important because that's where it stems all the information. You get a lot of information from that. But that's a really serious one to think about. Finish that. Okay, so let's go on and do my main topic of discussion for the people that we're encountering in our daily lives as we go about our business, living in this matrix. And the people that have created these beings through sex rituals, using drugs, having sex and using drugs, listening to music, having sex and listening to drugs, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. That's a thing. That's a spell in itself. And if it doesn't make sense, when you start looking at things with that different perspective, you'll start seeing that. But here's the last one that I wanted to talk about, because this is where this is what I believe that we've been encountering more than any else, is this particular type. So let me pull that, but I need a drink. Hold on. Okay, so the last one is ogre. Okay, so let's look at what ogre has to say. An ogre, feminine is ogress, is a legendary monster usually depicted as a large, hideous, man-like being that eats ordinary human beings, especially infants and children. And I didn't originally research that in hopes of finding that, but finding that was absolutely not a surprise whatsoever. It really wasn't. I was not shocked at all. Not shocked at all. Ogres frequently feature in mythology, which is history, throughout the world. History. They appear in many classic works of literature and history books, and are most often associated in fairy tales and legend with taste for infants. So if you think about that, and what a lot of us know about who is running our world and what their hunger for flesh is, then this makes a lot of sense to you, or will when you watch it. For anybody that comes back, thanks for checking out my video. And those that are watching now, thank you very much for watching the video. And at some point, yeah, I even have call-ins. In mythology, ogres are often depicted as inhumanly large, tall, and having a disproportionately large head, abundant hair, unusually colored skin, a voracious appetite, and a strong body. And if this description fits you, then, but you don't have the attributes or the characteristics of the personality, and I'm not saying, taste for infants, that kind of thing, but to be where I'm going with this, the rude and obnoxious type of person, then that doesn't apply to you. But if you get offended by where I'm going with this, then maybe it does, and maybe you shouldn't watch my videos anymore. Ogres are closely linked with giants and with human cannibals in mythology history. In both folklore and fiction, notice how they just threw them both in the same category. This is what I mean by watch how they word and how they talk to us and explain things too. Words matter. Extremely matter. I have to watch what I say now, seriously, because I don't want to be putting spells on people. That's how serious it is. Like greeting somebody by saying is actually putting a curse on them. By telling them to have a day of celebrating a death. Who wants to do that? So think about it. Words matter, and how they've created words to make us use spells on each other on a daily basis. So in both folklore and fiction, which fiction is not, let's see, folklore and fiction, giants are often, okay, no, I got that mixed up. I thought it said nonfiction. Because the nonfiction is the reality, like what's real. Yeah. Anyways, giants are often given ogreish traits, such as the giants in Jack and the Beanstalk and Jack the Giant Killer. And hey, if you're upset that I just said some stuff and was wrong about it and said I was wrong, hey, well, you know what? People are wrong. At least I said I was wrong. While ogres may be given giant, let's see, I found interesting that I think I remember reading this somewhere in school. That was something that we had to read, which I find interesting. And of course, I love Puss in Boots because my cat looks like Puss in Boots. He's actually Boots McFluffybutt. Yes, that's what his name is, Boots McFluffybutt. He may be on the show at some point. But anyways, these people are. This was some interesting things that I was talking about earlier in the video I deleted. That I had been coming across a lot of the same names in a lot of different places of research. Like I was researching whatever over here and found this word. And then today I was, getting ready for the show, and then I'm like, this pops up, and I'm like, wait a second, I was just researching that over here. So I find that a lot of the things that I'm bringing to the forefront, at least in my own brain and out here live streaming, are things that are popping up in the real world. Orcus, these are just the fact that, and I'm not even looking it up for these reasons here that we know about the elite. Okay. Um, I haven't even, that wasn't even my intent when I started looking up a lot of this stuff. But that was almost like the icing on the cake for me, because it just goes to show you the depth and depravity of where these people are going with the actions that they do and the areas of influence that they create their chaos in. And like, these people are going around and bullying and harassing all the people around them. They're yelling at them from across the sales floor, okay? Yelling at them from across the sales floor, uh, come here. Like they're a giant and they can. I'm serious. Now, these are things that happen that are going on right now. And it's like, I don't accept people talking to me like that. And I call back and say, don't you ever talk to me like that again. Okay. So I fight these giants and these ogres on a daily basis. Let's put it that way. And if you don't start fighting back, then they are going to rule you and the areas that you influence and are in. Okay. And I've seen them do it to other people. It's like simple things like um, elder disrespect, like 30-year-olds talking down to people my age, like, excuse me, you little punk. But just because I'm cleaning toilets right now doesn't mean that 5 years ago I didn't have a crew of 22 people that were cleaning toilets. And also that I just went through a deep FBI background check in order to get a license in order to do something. And it's like, It just start realizing what you're up against. And the witches and the warlocks, this is what they're creating by sex, drugs, and rock and roll. So it's like everything is so connected, and so spells and curses and symbols and um, words used against us and things like that. And you can probably, let's see, is there anything else on this one? Oh, I found this interesting. I went down and read the rest of this. It's like a little poem or whatever I don't know. They like human flesh. Okay. As it is written that he will come again, which I found interesting because um, that's almost prophetic, to all the realms of Logres, which is King Arthur's realm in the matter of Britain, blah, 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 which would basically mean everywhere, which was formerly land of ogres, which brings to mind how that closely resembles how it's talked about in the Bible as they traveled through the wilderness for those 40 years, but they traveled through the wilderness and they encountered all these giants that were in this land that God was going to provide for them. And they took them, and God took them through these lands of the giants, and how that is so closely related to how they talk about it in biblical terms that I just found this very interesting how they had this all put together. Just very interesting. And destroy them with that lance. Now, that was the other thing that caught my eye, was that lance. Because I just wonder if Christ isn't considered a lance. I wouldn't be surprised. And that the resets are because of this very reason, that these entities keep being recreated, and through the rituals of the sex, the drugs, and the rock and roll, sex, drugs, and music, sex, and people don't realize that drugs like pharmakia is drugs too. And I just had a discussion with my uh, person that I speak to about stuff to find other doctors to refer me to, that um, my doctor has referred to me as pharma naive, like pharmaceutical naive, and somebody slipped and told me that on the phone. So this person that I talked to today said that when I go to the doctor's office, I have every right to ask them who put that on my chart. I want to know who put that on my chart, because I know exactly what pharmakia is. I know exactly what it is. And they're also teaching that to our kids in games, the pharmakia stuff. Okay, so that was my main purpose, was to tell you guys to realize that you are not dealing with humans. Not all humans. Not 100% humans anyways. And Roger Spur on Mud Fossil University has DNA tested material that proves that giants exist, and that they have tested this material in this rock, and it shows that 99% of it is human, 1% they cannot describe. So guess what that is? The fallen. Okay? So that's something to think about, and something, if you are having problems with it, research it more. But Roger Spur, and I love him to death, and he'll get there. And but he's a really great person to follow and get caught up with the mud fossil. And there's a lot of stuff going on with the mud flood stuff being uncovered, and I actually to go over there. I gotta go over there. At our Masonic Masonic Lodge here in my town. They started their excavation and doing some things to repair, and they noticed that they uncovered a lower level doorway. And I believe now what they've done is they've uncovered the doorway and they've made a path, because they found a path that left the doorway and went through this little windy thing. And they've opened and they dug it all out. Just the path, the brick path. I need to go over and take some pictures of it. I really hope somebody's posting it or putting it somewhere. But I find it very interesting that people are waking up to these things. Because if you notice really old type buildings, how their basement windows aren't right. The windows just aren't right. They're just not right. Okay? So it's almost like there could be houses like rooms underneath rooms where you live. If you live in an old house and you just kept going down, you would just keep going down. Who knows how far? Apparently, that's pretty thick, from what I understand and what I'm seeing. Just the empty towns, the pictures of the empty towns is shocking. It's shocking, and all the the fair things that were going on and everything that they said were that they just created and stuff. It's all Tartarian stuff. So would a big flood come and wash it all away and uncover it? No. How come they're like, let's party? I just wonder if that would happen. Or if they actually went in with the water guns and sprayed mud off, washed it away, said, hey, look what we built in 3 years. Right. And they're all built for giants to come in and out of. Every single town, every single city, every single continent. And, people are talking about the Pangea and how all that happened, and, how we're trying to climb in, to the Tower of Babel and Tartaria and things like that. And yeah, it's just really interesting. But I think that is what I wanted to cover, was just to open everybody's eyes about the people that you're encountering are not real humans. Because showing the characteristics of humans, at least a little bit. And even if they're doing, you can tell if it's fake or not. Okay? Because I can. And it's like, I just, I try to appease just so that we can all get along. But it's like, when you cross that barrier with me in disrespect, war's on. Because I will not have people talk down to me. I will not have people push me around, ogress or not. I will not accept bullshit any longer from coworkers. I just won't tolerate it anymore, because that's what everybody's doing, and everybody needs to stop tolerating, and they need to start speaking up and speaking out about the people that are walking all over other people. Because that's all I saw happen, is certain people walking all over everybody and ruling the roost with their ogress ways and characteristics. It's just unbelievable what's going on out there. And if you're watching this and you know it's about you, if you're watching this and you know who I'm talking about, because it all started when you said that, or when I said this to you, actually. I said this to you because you said something to me. Well, after that, the, the havoc began. But if the shoe fits, wear it. If you act like an ogress, you might be an ogress. If you act like a troll, you might be a troll. If you act an asshole, you might be a Nephilim. If you act like a jerk face and you have no common human courtesy, you might be a Nephilim. And your parents, you can thank your parents for that. They probably did exactly what I just told you. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll, baby. Yeah, fuck that shit. Excuse my French. My videos are not made for children right now, so I really don't care. But anyways, lots more to come. There's lots more to talk about. Lots more to go off on. Lots of topics from just this one conversation. But I think an hour and 15 minutes is plenty of time. But I am here and I'm ready to rock and roll. I do have a green screen, but until I get a direct hookup to my modem, I wanted to say router, but that's not what I was wanting. Direct line to my modem to live stream, then that's when I'll actually use the green screen, because it freezes my screen, jacks up everything I'm streaming on. So that won't happen for maybe a week. So we'll see. We'll see. Maybe soon. Thank you so much for watching. Saw a couple of people pop in. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. Taking some time, and I'm going to try and keep it shorter. We may go into depth, maybe spend 30 minutes to an hour once a week going over that book, just so I can show you guys how interesting and spot on some of these things are for what's going on in the particular areas that they cover. Great topical thing as well. And thanks so much for watching, and lots more to come. And I like to have fun, so try to throw silly and wear a costume or play a joke or play something funny. And if you get a chance, I haven't watched Girly Man, and Jeff, I don't remember his last name, but if you look up Girly Man and go watch that, I guarantee you will enjoy it. He's hilarious. God, actually, dude, do you want to come on my show? He's really funny. It's really funny. Okay, take care, everybody, and thanks so much for watching. And thanks for watching the Dancing Deplorable. My name is Milo, and welcome and aloha. I like that word. I have some Hawaiian friends. And I'll see you guys next time. And I'll be back tomorrow night at 9:30. Wednesday night will be a different time. I haven't decided what time I want to do yet, because I do watch Survivor. I'm doing my video for my audition this week. Hopefully I can get some help with that. And who you are. And so I'll be working on that this week, and maybe I'll fly it by you guys and see what you think. We'll go from there. But I know that I'll get on the show. I don't want to wait any longer because I'm getting older, and I don't want to be like, Franny Fat Ass on Survivor, but I'll be going as Milo. That's what I'll do my audition for. So, and a whole other level of the LGBTQ community, which I don't support and don't. I support people in the LGBT community, but I do not support the LGBTQ agenda, because that's where the problems come. Okay, so see you tomorrow night at 9:30, and thanks for everything. And I'm really looking forward to getting back and doing this. And I don't know who popped in, but thanks for popping in. I am getting ready to take off, but I will be back tomorrow night at 9:30, and then a different time. Maybe we'll do something fun later on Wednesday night after Survivor, because I'll be like, yeah, it was a great show. Let's play. Let's party. Yeah. Do something like that. So we'll figure it out. Okay. Thanks so much, everybody. Take care. Have a great night and see you tomorrow night. Take care. 9:30 Mountain Standard Time.